Hello and welcome to the 5 Minute Film Club. Today I'm in a different kind of place. I'm in Santa Mira, and if you've got a television set on, maybe you should turn it off.
Happy, happy Halloween, 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 happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
Halloween 3 tells the story of Dr. Dan Challis, played by Tom Atkins, who comes into contact with an incoherent patient who arrives in the hospital holding a Halloween mask, babbling about someone trying to kill us all. When the patient is killed by a well-suited man, who then sets fire to himself in the car park, Dr. Challis begins an investigation with the patient's daughter, Ellie, played by Stacey Nelkin. Their investigation leads them to the town of Santa Mira and a novelty mask factory called Silver Shamrock. There they meet creepy Irishman Conal Cochran, who runs Silver Shamrock, and the pair start to uncover a plot that will have worldwide repercussions. Halloween 3 was released just 1 year after Halloween 2, and in my review of that film, I said that John Carpenter and Deborah Hill saw that film as the end of the Michael Myers story. That was it, no more. They'd had a great run of films from the breakout performance of Halloween. They'd made The Fog and Escape from New York, both low-budget films that had found an audience and also were critically well liked. Universal, and in particular Mustafa Akkad, wanted another Halloween film, and it became apparent that they were going to make one, with or without Hill and Carpenter's involvement. They agreed to make Halloween 3 on the proviso that it had nothing to do with Michael Myers, and instead they pitched the idea of creating each year a new original Halloween-themed story. An idea that nearly 40 years later still seems like a good idea to me. To come up with the first story in this series, Carpenter turned to veteran British sci-fi writer Nigel Kneale of the Quatermass series. However, producer and rights holder Dino De Laurentiis didn't care for the story and wanted more gore added. Kneale was mistrusting of Hollywood and refused to rewrite it and asked for his name to be removed from the project. John Carpenter then had a go at the script, and then it passed to Tommy Lee Wallace, who did a kind of final polish, but he's the only one that ends up with the sole screenwriting credit for the film, which he said is completely wrong. Tommy Lee Wallace was a childhood friend of John Carpenter and had worked as production designer and editor on Halloween. He'd been offered the chance to direct Halloween 2, but stepped away when he didn't like the script. He thought he'd blown his chance to ever work with his friends again, so was delighted to get the chance to work on Halloween 3, and particularly because it was going to be a standalone film. Wallace thought of Halloween as a knife movie, and Season of the Witch as a pod movie, hoping to update Don Siegel's original Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I first saw Halloween 3 around the time I saw 1 and 2, and I probably just watched it once and thought, oh, that was strange, and then just moved on to 4, 5 and 6 and whatever. It didn't make much of an impact to me at all. I noticed that Michael Myers wasn't part of the story, and at the time I think I probably felt like a lot of audiences did when it originally came out. All the behind the scenes crew from the first 2 Halloweens are back, and again I am in love with Dean Cundey's cinematography. He actually turned down the chance to work on Spielberg's production of Poltergeist out of loyalty to his friendship with Carpenter and Hill, and I really think a big reason for the continued love this film gets now is because of how this film looks. It's amazingly stylish, and some of the shots and framing are just head and shoulders above the smaller budget films of the day. Tommy Lee Wallace's direction is also from the school of Carpenter, but he has a distinct voice here, and even though Carpenter had final cut, he always deferred to Wallace's wishes when challenged by Universal to edit the film in a certain way. In fact, Universal wanted the end of this film changed. They thought Carpenter could just, do what he did in Halloween 2 and go out and do a couple of reshoots. But instead he turned to Tommy Lee Wallace and said, do you want to change the ending? And apparently he took no more than 10 seconds to answer, no, leave it as it is. It is one of the boldest endings to a sci-fi film or a horror film.
Turn it off! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
Another great thing about Halloween 3 is the score by John Carpenter and his co-composer Alan Howarth. It's so minimalist and unnerving, and part of me enjoys the score for Halloween 3 more than the other films in the series. The score just sort of rumbles on, creating another layer of dread that complements and elevates what's going on in the story. But perhaps the most memorable moment in the film, and just people who've seen this film once, they will come away singing this.
Happy, happy Halloween, 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 happy.
It's sort of peppered throughout the film, and it slowly counts down to Halloween, that we know that something's going on. And it is so amazingly annoying, but in a good way. In a good way. It is such an earworm. I also love the addition of Tom Atkins as our hero, I suppose, but he's more like an anti-hero. He's a horrific dad and ex-husband, and importantly, he's a terrible doctor. After one car ride with Ellie, they immediately get into bed together.
Where do you want to sleep, Dr. Challis?
That's a dumb question, Miss Grimbridge.
He's sleazy, and their whole relationship is very weird throughout the whole film. They don't seem to have any chemistry together at all. There are so many elements in Halloween 3 that make it just a great thrill ride of a movie, and it's such a shame that it didn't find its audience at the time. It died a death when it was released, and effectively killed the Halloween name for 6 years before Halloween 4 was released, reinstating Michael Myers as the face of the series. It being a standalone story with so much promise about what could have been, I think that is the reason for its recent success. Maybe if it would have just been called Season of the Witch, it would have done better, but then without the Halloween name it probably never would have been made, and its attachment to the series is the reason it keeps finding a new audience. Thank you very much for watching my review of Halloween 3. Next month I'm reviewing Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers from 1988. And along with Halloween, I've also got a load of other series rewatches happening at the moment, including Spider-Man and James Bond. So just go to the channel and you'll find playlists for all of my reviews that I've done so far. But until next time, I'll say thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Goodbye.